Got preparing to live stream the meeting.
Okay, it's live streaming, but I don't see you. So I'm wondering, did that not work? It's more my...
Preparing to live stream the meeting. Errors, boom. Oh, I don't want that.
Okay, so...
That's there's you, right? There you go.
we got to go back to it because it's live, actually live on Facebook. So, and Tamuk is here, Corey's here, Kathy's here. And I'm sure it's going from the restream versus anywhere else. So I'm not in this camera, I'm in that camera.
Unable to live stream to the custom service.
Okay, so
update the configuration key on the page. Try this now.
Tamuk is saying, what up, though? What up, though, Tamuk? Barbershops are back open. No, actually, Tamuk, barbershops are officially open after Friday. But thank you so much for telling me how dapper I look. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Don't come for you.
Yeah, that's Tamuk, you know. It's repeating everything being said, he said. Marilyn Nelson is here. Okay, so I'm wondering.
Go ahead and try to copy and paste from Messenger.
Yes. But I want to make sure that in the messenger that you're pulling you can put the HTTPS www.facebook.com/LAS guy 18. And there are some folks coming through. The one and only J. Lawrence Turner has come. He is the pastor of the Mississippi Boulevard Church in Memphis, Tennessee, where my cousin Jan Holmes Boyd is a member. Thank you, sir, for coming through here. I'm honored. I'm going to try to connect you with J. Gerald Harvey, our senior associate producer, who is working on a show around African American men and emotional literacy that I would love to have you to be a part of. Marilyn Nelson Hamilton has joined us. Geneva Dixon Connors has joined us. Geneva, put the name of the lady whose son was murdered. I'm so sorry to hear about that. So much going on. My goodness. I just caught the picture on your page. Tamuk, you were doing a dig, but that's okay. Ernest Sisson Jr., my photographer to the stars. So Tamuk is saying that they're getting, I don't know why they're getting, but they're getting, I'm trying to forget, they're getting some feedback. Tamuk, did that help? He said it's like Teddy Riley and Babyface all over. Leave it to Tamuk to tell us. I'm probably going to shift until we fix that. My cousin Brian Morgan has joined us. Long time no see, Mr. Morgan. You're having slight technical difficulties. Our senior associate producer is really driving the production today due to my own technical difficulties. And so he's experiencing some of the stuff I experienced. on a regular basis dealing with all of these platforms, but we will not complain. We are grateful. Arnaldo Jimenez is here. Charlie Hawkins is here. Charlie put us down, J. Gerald. He wouldn't come play us music on our small show. See how I put you out there like that? Okay, let me know if you're able to, because elsewise, I think I'm going to just have you join me here live. And then we'd only be able to have one guest this way. I need to turn the volume down on one of my devices. That's what I caught myself doing. And I think we're going to probably, on this device, which was I thought I did that. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, did it disappear? Did it disappear? Felix Holmes has joined us. Thank you so much. Tamuk, let me know if it disappeared. And those of you who have joined, I hope you will take a moment to click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us in the discussion. I think it'll be a pretty good discussion today. I know we're up against some nope, it didn't go away. Okay, so J. Gerald, what I think I'm going to do is send you the link and just join me here on Restream. Let's do it that way. Okay. Okay, it's telling me it can't post to some destinations. What you telling me? All right. Okay. I am going to exit this. All right. Let me know if that cured the repeat. It should have cured it. Okay, Tamuk, is it still repeating? Dr. Truman Hudson. Wow, thank you, sir, for stopping through. J. Gerald Harvey IV is our senior associate producer for the show, Love and Stuff. And I'd love to put him in touch with you and J. Lawrence Turner to participate in our emotional literacy for the African American male. I'd love to have you part of that show. Great doctor. And I hope that we'll be able to inbox you. Give me a thumbs up if that's okay. That show is coming up soon. And Tamuk, are you saying no, it didn't stop it? Yes, it's still repeating. Okay, I'm not sure. Google Chrome is using my microphone. Yeah, I think it should be. All right. Okay, does that help? Cole Baldwin has joined us. Thank you so much. Am I still doubled? Am I still doubled? Valerie Colbert Osumwady is here. Hey there, Val. Miss you much. Okay. So, okay, can someone let me know if you're getting double or if you're hearing single? Luke was my sound man, and he was telling me he was hearing double. Are you still hearing double? I'm ahead on that. Oh, Lord. And I'm going to do it to Luke Scruggs. What you gonna do with them? All right, so I am going to. I am going to see if this helps us. Okay, what about now? Torrin Taz. Taylor has joined us. I know, Val, I need our 4:30 meetings. Am I doubled still? Is my voice still doubled? Somebody please let me know. Okay, I sound fine to you. Maybe it was just Tamuk. All right, so I'm going to get started. Let me first thank you at the outset for your continued support. I know that especially with the many states still reopening and being in a stay-at-home order, that you can watch so much programming on Tuesday night. And I want to thank you for at least the last 7 Tuesday nights, exceeding our goal of 1,000 views. We have not hit our goal of 60 shares, and the shareability is really key, really important. But you have helped us with our views. Last week, we we're just shy of 2,000 views. And it was a great show. If you missed that show, we had Darren Williams on, who is a pastor in Oklahoma, and he talked about his father as a part of our Father's discussions. That show and the Father series of shows has really knocked it out the park. We had one of the shows that had 4,800 views, one of the shows that had 5,400 views, and last week almost 2,000 views. And so I'm grateful for 1,000 views, and I'm grateful for 1 view. But our goal is 1,000, and our goal is 1,000 with purpose, because now we have a few small micro brand relationships where sponsors will boost our post to help support our cost of doing Lemon Stuff. What do you mean? You just flick it on. I really wish it were a case that you just flick it on to really try to grow it and take it to the next level. I'd like to just flick it on, but that's not the case. And beyond just bringing you content on Tuesday, our goal is about taking Love and Stuff around the world. Our goal is about being love on steroids. Our goal is upping our love game so that the world's love game shifts. And so before I delve into our topic, because we haven't had yet the format where we talk about what's happening to love today, love has had a knee in its neck, right? And we haven't had our discussion around that as yet to get the people that we want to be in the room to have that discussion. So that discussion is coming. And as you may have followed in some of the posts that I've made, I am really concerned about the mobilization and the strategy and the action out of this movement that is coordinated, right? And so we'll be talking a little bit more about that and ways that we think that love can get from under the neck of racism. If you know, like I know, love has been on trial and has been on a cross before. And love prevailed then, and I believe love will prevail now. That's my position. But how we advance the cause of love, how we advance and harness the power of love, and how we defend and uphold the reputation of love might be different than we have ever done it before, because these are unprecedented times. And so, having said that, if you're interested in being a part of that roundtable discussion, I have in my mind people who I think are thought leaders and salient people to be involved in that discussion. We welcome you to be involved in that discussion as well. But it's taken a little time to get people on board to wanting to have a discussion, because some people are tired of talking and some people are doing their own thing. And I don't knock either. Believe it or not, he who has the gift to gab even tires of talking, rarely, but sometimes. And sometimes I want to do my own thing. But just seeing Mama V came in here, she's a part of our community. It's a day one for me personally and a day one for Love and Stuff. She does the encouragements. I want to boost and post that as much because we're all on the same team. And if I can make that interconnected without infringing upon what she's doing, it serves to help to bolster what she's doing. I say that because if you're doing your own march, which is great, you're doing your own protest, you're doing your own looting, which is not my method, but I hear you. You're doing your own rioting, which is not my method, but I hear you. How much more effective would it be if we joined in concert with a strategy that we mobilized and planned? Planning isn't always bad. It's only bad if you only plan for the sake of planning. But if you plan so that you can implement and then optimize and then implement, or as I call it, rinse and repeat. My thinking on the plan is mobilize, strategize, and take action, rinse and repeat. Because there will be things in each of those three tiers, if you will, that will need rinsing, cleansing, measurement, value, evaluations. And then the good of them need to be repeated, and some of them will need to be optimized. But I don't think that anybody should go that alone. Brenda Landry, thank you so much for coming. Don, Renee, Ori, thank you both for coming and joining us here on Love and Stuff. We are streaming live through Restream. We've had a few technical difficulties with Zoom tonight. So we're through Restream, and we should be on both the Marcus Our Homes page and the Love and Stuff page, as well as the YouTube channel, which is HR Passions LLC, which is the parent company, in case you didn't know that. And Love and Stuff is one of the subsidiaries, if you will, underneath it. So that's our structure. I guess I should probably put that out a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to the topic. I'm looking for Jay Gerald to join me. All right, I'm going to have him join me in just a second. He is working hard behind the scenes as per usual. And if there is no glory behind the scenes, I want you to know there is a story behind my glory. And it's Jay Gerald Harvey, who is very supportive. And I don't forget Kamal Williams, who's our associate producer as well. But it seems like I'm working Jay Gerald pretty hard these days. So you're going to have to buy him a chicken sandwich from Wendy's, from Popeyes. Okay, so I'm going to the topic, and I'm kind of working on a couple of different devices as usual, so bear patient with me. Here's the topic: pray, protest, plan, press, policy, and repeat, and often simultaneously. That's my mantra on this moment in history. Thank you for that, Mama V. You're part of the roundtable discussion that I want to bring together, so I hope that we'll have some great dialogue. I'm sure we will. And hopefully there are some influencers and micro-influencers who can help some of the people who are on larger platforms than you and I decidedly to and intentionally to mobilize the community, which is what I think is needed at this hour. Okay, almost 10 years ago, he says, I reported 2 employees that I caught having sex at work. They both end up getting fired, he says. I felt bad at first, and then life went on. He goes on to say, let me first say that I was single at the time when he got those 2 employees fired, and I had a major crush on the woman involved who was married at the time, okay? She ended up messing around with old boy who was also married. So I sort of cock blocked or whatever, he says. Now, my son is scheduled to marry dude's daughter, the dude he kind of got fired, he says. He has apparently worked things out in his marriage. So when we were at the engagement dinner, he says, I could tell that his feelings of resentment were like day one. So he appeared to be mad. When my son introduced his mom and I, he smirked. The dude smirked and said, "Oh, I know your dad. My wife knows the story, but my son does not. Do I try to talk with him, old dude?" He's saying. Old boy. Do I tell my son? Do I just keep it moving? So here's a situation where it appears, and J. Gerald, I just sent you the link, so hopefully you can join us. It appears that this man made a decision, we'll call it that, all right, J. Gerald, I dropped the link in there. Lena Brown, thank you for joining us. He made a decision to kind of cock block. He decided that because this woman that he liked, thanks for posting the topic, this woman that he liked who was married, was dating a man on the job who was also married. So the kind of cock block when he caught them in the act, and I asked, "Did you really catch them in the act?" He said they were in the act. They were getting it in a place where they could have been caught. So he, questioned that, but they were in a place and he caught them and he reported it. And both of them ended up getting fired. Now, they were fired close to the time that he reported it, so he believes that his reporting in some way led to their dismissal. And he felt bad about it initially, but he decided, hey, life goes on. Fast forward, because the world is so small, and because oftentimes what you put out in the world may come back and knock on your door and say, "Remember me." His son is now engaged to be married to this guy's daughter. And they have an engagement dinner. And the guy says, "I remember you." And he is wondering, okay, do I, to keep more peace, even though they are going to be in-laws, to keep more peace among the relationships, do I have a conversation with him? Do I tell my son? Or do I just keep it moving? It was 10 years ago. It is what it is. It was what it was. What do you say? I want to hear from you. Want to hear from you. All right. Okay, let's see if I can see what it does. All right, I sent an invite there. Okay, J. Gerald, I'm trying to get you to come join me. Yes, Don, I think it is a popcorn moment. So get your popcorn, get your corn. Let me ask you first this question as we break this down maybe some. Okay, you can't make this stuff up. Karma is real. You are absolutely correct. I would love for you to come on. I dropped the link in the comments, and I can have two of you on at a time. So let me ask you this question first, though. If you catch two of your coworkers, if you happen upon two of your coworkers engaged in sexual activity at work, do you tell on them? I'm just asking. Maybe I should fix my face. Do you tell on them? Give me some likes if you would tell, because it's not appropriate for people to be having sex in the workplace. Or if you would tell. Give me some likes. If you would report it. Okay? I got no likes so far. Sherry Arrington has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Step. I hope all of you that have joined recently will click share, tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to help us to get to 1,000 viewers. You did that last week. We're almost to 2,000 views, 4,800 views the week before, 5,400. Help us. You may be obligated to tell. Yes, Val, I was looking for that response. And I wanted to see if I could get you to come on and have that dialogue with me. You may be obligated to tell. Now, let me ask you this. Does it tip the scale for you? Darren Williams, I didn't know you were here. Thank you, sir. I would try to get you in. Your show last week has gotten us almost to 2,000 views. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to get people to realize we need 1,000 views every week, and we need at least 60 shares so that our brand sponsors feel like they should boost our post and invest in us. And so that's the most that I can really say without Facebook further restricting me, because I'm on restriction. We can talk about that offline. But thank you so much for coming. And so you say, no, you don't tell that, Doc. And Val, you're saying you may be obligated to tell. I want to ask this. Does it matter if the coworkers are both married and not to each other? Does that make you want to tell more? Is that kind of judging? What is that? What is that? So give me some likes if the fact that they are both married to other people would swing you in the way of telling more than swing you against telling. If their marital status, okay. Val says, no, it's the action. All right. I'd love to have you on. And Darren, I'd love you both to come on because you have slightly different opinions or slightly different perspectives. I'd love to have you both on. Don, I wanted to hear that, whether or not that's judging. Yes. And is telling on your coworkers who are grown, is that judging? Or should it be generally understood that sex does not belong in the workplace, even if it's consensual? Which is really a byproduct of the topic, right? This is secondary. Really, what's the topic? He's done it. It's been 10 years. And now his son is going to marry this guy who stayed with his wife or got back with his wife. He's going to marry this guy's daughter. So they're about to be in-laws. Thanksgivings, maybe Christmases, who knows? Baby shower, who knows how frequently they're going to be together, right? And so he's thinking that, maybe I should clear the air with this guy because that was 10 years ago and I felt bad initially, but then I thought, they're both married. So they shouldn't have been together anyway, even though he liked the woman, which I think is really what lent him to telling, right? He was kind of cock blocking. He admits that in the inbox. John says that's snitching. And snitches get stitches or snitches are itches. I don't know. Some might say snitches are mitches if you were Kevin Hart. And so I want to know, what do you think? If you thought it was wrong to snitch, give me some likes. If you thought it was wrong to snitch. If it's wrong to be in somebody's business when they're doing wrong, or is it wrong when two people decide that the place that they're going to have sex is work? Now, I'm a human resources professional, so I'm going to say it's wrong. That somewhere in somebody's rules, the table is not used for that. The closet is not used for that. The conference rooms are not used for that. And somewhere in the rules, it's insinuated. I just have to believe that. David Carter has joined us. Thank you so much. I hope you will click share and tag 5 people, 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us in the discussion. And so I, as a human resources professional, I do not espouse workplace sex. It happens. It can happen. It may be amazing. I don't know. It might be wonderful. It might be just fantastic. I don't espouse that. I don't espouse it. But the question then might be, is that espousing if it's not a rule? And I would imagine most companies are going to have something along the lines of certain behaviors aren't supposed to happen at work. I'm sure there's an employee manual, and I'm sure that's why he knew that they would get in trouble. He didn't know they would get fired. And he believes because the firing, the dismissal happened so closely to the time he told, that it was his telling, snitching, as Don would say, that got them fired. So should you speak up and say to the boss, to 2 people that are having intercourse at the job, give me some likes if you think you should speak up. Okay, I'm not saying a single like. Don says, see, that man knew every decision he was making about that affair he was having could jeopardize his livelihood. Yes. And sometimes they did. And sometimes we don't make the best decisions, right? We make some stupid decisions. Forgive me. I'm always told, stop doing this. We make some stupid decisions, or not the best decisions, I better say. Around workplace romantics. I'll call it that. Many stories that I should write in a book. So nobody gave me a single like. So you don't think that you should tell. You don't think they should be doing it, but you don't think you should tell. Give me likes if that's you. If you say, I don't think that they should be in the workplace doing this, but I would not tell. Give me a like. Okay, Val's gave me a like. Okay, 1 like. How many of you are either undecided and you're just popping your popcorn and saying, oh, this is going to be good? How many of you, there goes another like. How many of you would tell? You think that you should tell. Okay, and I got Nicole and got somebody else liking. All right, cool. Okay. Okay, how many of you think you should tell? Andrea Williams is here. Thank you for joining. She says, nope. John says, I learned in this life that how you do anything is how you do everything. He was probably slipping in a few other areas. I gave you a like for the other question. Okay. The other question was, come on, Val, you got to come back in. You got to come in so I can figure out what you were liking. He should have approached them, but it should not have been first move. Well, Mama V, I don't know if you heard this part, but he also liked the married woman. So this was kind of a form of him cock blocking as well. So I don't know if he would have just rolled up to tell them, hey, y'all really shouldn't be doing that. Because he didn't want them to be doing anything that they should be. Well, Val Colbert, Olsen-Wady, I'm not sure which question I asked. That's why I wanted you to kind of help me clarify, because I asked a few questions in there. Mike Ellison has joined us. Thank you so much for coming through, love and stuff. I hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to talk to us about the topic, which I think is pinned, maybe not pinned. Can I pin it? All right, I'm pinning it. I pinned the topic so that you can see it under J. Gerald Harvey IV, who is our senior associate producer. But in essence, this guy, now 10 years later, after he told 10 years ago on 2 of his coworkers who were both married to other people, He told management that they were having sex at the job and they were subsequently discharged. 10 years later, his son is marrying the daughter of the guy who he helped get discharged. And he's wondering, should I have a come to Jesus talk with this guy? Should I tell my son? Should I keep it moving? Because it happened 10 years ago and he stayed with his wife. He's still with his wife. So, if, the woman on the side, that's his thing. But he's still with his wife. So what should I do? Because it's awkward going into a situation where I'm having dinner at an engagement party. And when my son goes to introduce me, the other guy says, "Oh, I know your dad," which is what his response was. So what do I do? Dawn says I probably wouldn't tell, but I would have mentioned it to them separately. The son and the old dude, the other guy. Is that what you're saying, Dawn? What makes them different? Seems like a jealousy at move on his part. What makes them different? Mm-hmm. McUrant Pie, thank you so much. I hope you will click, share, and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. There's the topic pinned. Jealousy is his place of guilt. Good point. I would have submitted the incident with HR. They probably would have sparked a company-wide warning about policy. Well, in this company, it appears that HR management and HR decided to take some swift action, ergo fired. They got fired. Now, he believes it's because of this report that they got fired because they were fired so closely after he reported. So, and there are companies where they would consider that egregious enough to let you go when it happens. There are companies that would have sent you, mandated that you go to employee assistance as a last chance kind of agreement. There are companies that, depending if there was a supervisor, direct report relationship, may have taken certain actions as well. So different companies will, take different actions. But yeah, I would have mentioned it to the coworkers. Okay. All right. Okay. And so shoulda, woulda, coulda. Roosevelt Hampton has joined us. Thank you so much for coming to Love and Stuff. I hope you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, almost, right? Yeah. There was the opportunity to say it 10 years ago, right? But he didn't have that discussion, right? I'm sorry, or whatever the discussion would be. Let me ask you all this. And Cedric Jones has joined us as well. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. I hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends, so that we can get to 60 shares and 1,000 views. Bridget Rudolph has joined us. Hey, Bridget Rudolph, how are you? Hope all is well. Hope you are safe and well. If you had gone to management because 2 of your coworkers were having sex at work, if you did that, because some of you are saying, I'm not involved. If you caught them in the act, you walked into the conference room where they were getting it in, as they would say. You walk in the conference room and you can't unsee what you saw, and so you have to tell what you thought. And so you go and you tell, and they get fired. Do you apologize? Would you apologize if you got them fired or felt that you got them fired? Because they probably wouldn't tell you we fired them because of your complaint, but you felt that your complaint, your reporting got them fired. Would you apologize then? Dominic says, as far as today, I'd let it go. Talking to him now or telling his son does what? Great question. And so, Dawn, I'm asking you, would you have told then? Carolyn Bishop has joined us. Thanks so much for coming to Love and Stuff. I hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us in the discussion. If you caught your coworkers, 2 of your coworkers that happen to be married to other people, if you caught them engaged in sexual intercourse at the job, and you reported it, of course, I'm asking, would you report it? Some said, Roosevelt, they wouldn't. Some said they would. You report it and they get busted. Maybe not that word. You report it and they get fired. And I think you're saying, Roosevelt, no, because what they were doing was wrong. You would not. You would not apologize because the behavior was inappropriate. Give me a like if that's what you're saying, Roosevelt. Kim Wilson has joined us. Thank you so much for all those wonderful, beautiful, happy love pictures I'm seeing. That's awesome stuff. We got to have the two of you on. All right. While you're smiling, tag some folks to join us in the discussion. And so, yeah, I used the wrong word there. They didn't get busted. they got fired. And so Roosevelt is saying, I would not apologize because I did the right thing. They violated company policy or was inappropriate behavior. And that's the consequences of your actions. Okay. So fast forward 10 years forward, their marital status is irrelevant. Now, see, for me, Don, it isn't irrelevant. It is something that I would consider, but I would consider my approach to it as well. I might be more inclined. Now, if I'm the guy in the situation, he had a reason that he didn't really want to fully acknowledge. And that's where some of the guilt, I think, comes because he liked the girl too, although she was married. So marriage really isn't an issue for him. It might be for me if I wasn't also trailing behind a married woman. I might say, I need to talk to the two of you because you're not only impacting you, you're impacting other people. And that might be the reason that I might have a conversation with them. But I might not have that same conversation in that way if I thought they were both violating the policy and just out here. That might weigh into how I approach it. So for me, it might not be all irrelevant, but I do get what you're saying. It certainly could be irrelevant. Because if they're breaking the rules, they're breaking the rules. And if you are a rule keeper, which is what, I'm an HR professional, I want to empower employees to keep the rules and to be ambassadors of rule keeping. You want people that are going to say, hey, somebody's not following the rules, right? Denise Butler has joined us. Thanks so much for coming. Carolyn said that's a tough one. Yeah. I know a number of people included in this wonderful discussion tonight are saying, hey, while I don't agree with it, it's not my business. I'm not going to get involved in that. Interestingly enough, that line of involvement differs by gender. I'm always looking, slicing it, dicing it, looking by gender and looking by age. And you get a different response from older women, older than 40, than you get from younger men. And you get a different response from older men. So it's interesting. Thank you for coming to Love and Stuff. So I want to ask, 10 years pass, and as life would have it, you are now at an engagement dinner meeting your prospective in-laws for the first time. That happens sometimes. Sometimes people don't introduce the in-laws before this point. Maybe she meets his in-laws, he meets her in-laws, but their parents don't necessarily meet for whatever reasons. And so in this case, the very guy that he helped or thought that he helped to get fired is the father of the bride-to-be of his son's betrothed, of his son's fiance. And so here his son brings him and his wife, who was baby mama, but that's a whole nother layer, brings him and his wife to meet her parents. And the dad, who was the dude who got caught, says, oh yeah, I know your dad, in that way. And so it's almost like, okay, what's the backstory? the son might ask, what's the backstory? I asked if the son had asked, and the son didn't ask yet what the backstory is. But the dad put that edge on it like, I ain't forgot. And so now from our inbox, he's wondering, should I be having a conversation with my about to be in-law who I got fired 10 years ago to kind of clear the air, whatever needs to be done? And should I tell my son? See, what had happened was, he says that his wife already knows, the whistleblower, I'll call it that. His wife already knows. He told her the story. But he's not sure whether or not this man's wife knows that her husband got fired for this reason. So that could trigger some things. Carolyn says, I guess if I was a married individual, I may consider having a conversation with the both of them. However, people are going to do what they want, no matter what positive feedback you give them. So, Carolyn, you're saying if you were married, it would bother you more so than if you were single. Interesting. Don says, here's the popcorn moment. Pop mine. Well, now looks like karma is saying hello. I said that earlier, kind of. Nicole, it was like karma's knocking on the door and saying, do you remember me? Sheila Jordan has joined. She's my sometimes wife. Sheila Jordan has joined. Repeat the updated scenario just so I'm clear of the question. Okay, so let me go back. This guy had a crush on a woman at work who he knew, one, was married. Another guy at work started kicking it with this woman who also was married. He happened upon them in a room having sex. And admittedly, because he liked the woman who was married, he wasn't at the time. The woman was married, but he had a baby mama, but that's all I'm not done. The woman was married. He went to management and told that he saw them engaged in intercourse. Shortly after that, they were both dismissed from the company. Since he felt bad for a minute because he thought, well, what if my motive wasn't right? But life went on, he says. 10 years forward, his son, from his baby mama, who now is wife, is getting ready to marry this guy who got fired, who he believes got fired because of him. His son is getting ready to marry this guy's daughter. And they come together for an engagement party of sorts, where he gets a formal introduction to this guy by his son, along with his wife. And the guy who got fired says to him, to his son, oh yeah, I know your dad. So now he's wondering, should I tell my son the backstory? Because I've already told my wife. Should I talk to this guy because we're getting ready to be in-laws, and who knows, we might be at Thanksgiving dinners, we might be traveling together, we might be baby showers together, whatever. Should I have a discussion with this guy to try to clear the air? Should I tell my son? Should I do both? Or should I keep it moving? Hey, wife. Andrea Williams has joined us. Thank you so much. And so I'm wondering, would you, because he's responded in a way to let you know, I remember, right? Would you take that as, well, we probably need to have some discussion? Now, Andrea says, that's all wrong. Tell the son so he's not caught off guard. Good point. Because I'm wondering, do you think that the father-in-law to be will say to the son, your dad ain't sugar, honey, ice, and tea. because he tried to hem me up. Matter of fact, I lost my MF and job. Those are words. Now, if he does that, maybe his wife already knows what happened. Maybe, and that was 10 years ago and she's over it, but maybe she doesn't know. How does that go when you tell the son and he has some discussion with the bride to be his fiance and she talked to her mama? So it could go really left, I'm thinking. If anybody has a conversation about it and the wife doesn't know already. The wife of the guy that got fired. She must know that he got fired, but she might not know why he got fired. And if the time has passed, is this the time to relive that? Roosevelt says, I tell my son just so he's not blindsided when it comes up, because it will come up later. It will come up later. Okay? Do you think, I mean, that it'll be a lot of thinking, right? That the dad's response was kind of like veiled, like maybe he didn't want to have the conversation. Or maybe it was his way to signal to him, yeah, I ain't forgot. But Roosevelt, I hear you saying at least have the conversation with the son. And would you tell the son, don't tell your, now son, you don't keep secrets from your wife, but don't tell your wife. What would you tell your son? Would you tell him not to tell the fiance? Because what if the fiance is like, what? Say what? I want to do my mama know. And what she tells the mama's like, I thought you got fired because she was late every day. Do you want to open that door? Kanata Hope Williams has joined us. Thank you so much for coming to Love and Stuff. Let me see if it will let me bring you on. So I got the link. Here is the link for those of you that want to join me on Restream. I don't know what happened to J. Gerald Harvey. I think I asked him to come and join me. Come on, Mama V. Come on, join me. Roosevelt, come on and join me. Hit that link and join me right here in the studio on Restream. We're streaming live on Facebook on the Marcus R. Holman's page as well as the Love and Stuff page. And I think if I'm not looking at both, that's what it's supposed to combine all of the comments, even the YouTube comments. I had one YouTuber comment earlier, and we're thankful for all of you that are watching on whatever platform you're watching. Thank you so much for dropping the link. Thank you so much. So I'd like to hear from you. Do you want to risk the chance? Roosevelt, come on in. Do you want to risk the chance of your son telling his fiance and her telling the mother who may not be aware? Do you want to create that chance? Because it could happen. Val says, I would not open the door and do not believe the guy will say anything. And you don't believe he will say anything. It will remain between the two of them. Yep. I kind of sensed that too. I might have been reading more into than I have facts for, but I figured if the wife knew, there would be more reason for the guy to say, yeah, your dad, he might have gone a little bit more into it. I think the fact that he just kind of said, oh yeah, I know your dad, was a notice to the dad that no matter where their relationship goes, this is dead in the water, in-law, because I ain't forgotten. And while I can't go in on you because I ain't forgotten, I ain't forgotten. That sounds like to me that like a dude kind of move. That would be like, yeah. Mm-hmm. See what happened when you, yeah. I didn't get the sense that he was going to then later say, hey, let's have a talk. But trying to now do what he considers, he being our inbox community person, he considers damage control because he doesn't want to have years of in-law interaction that is awkward or distant or spaced. And so that might be a conversation. If that's his motive, that might be a conversation worth having man to man, without involving the son. And maybe trying to get a better sense that the wife doesn't know and the wife doesn't need to know, because that's not his place to tell the wife. Now, some would argue it wasn't his place to go to the employer, which I think is an interesting argument. Of course, it's interesting for me because I work in human resources. And I would rarely want people not to share information that might at some point expose us to some trouble, litigation. You know, they could be coworkers on the line, but if one of them gets promoted to team leader or foreman, that can go south really quickly. And so it just really does depend on what the rules of the company are, which I think most of them speak to some degree to something along this line. So Val, I'm trying to see if I can bring you in. I tried to bring in Kanata, and I don't know. Kanata, at least tell me if you got the invitation to come in. Melvin Chapman has joined us. Thank you so much for coming to Love and Stuff. Okay, I'm going to try to see if I can add Sheila. I'm just trying to see what it will let me do while I'm on these two different platforms. So Sheila, try to let me know if you guys got an invitation to join. Okay. Now, did you get an invitation? It was his place to say something if he was obligated by company policy, which is the case in most organizations. It would be. I know of very few organizations where it wouldn't be. Though these situations are not as uncommon as you might think. People find, and people look for romance in the workplace quite often. A lot of times it's convenient. It fills the void. It adds excitement. It adds taboo. All of those things that people sometimes look for in interactions. It satisfies all of that. And Dom, would you say that he was not out of place if his motive was because he wanted to be with the married woman? Is he still not out of place, or he's covered because the policy says so, even if his motive was wrong? I'm trying to, let's see. Now here it won't tell me exactly. It used to tell me who was exactly here. It doesn't do that anymore. So I'm trying to press the button to invite you in. Workplace romance is different than having sex in the workplace. Get a room, folks. Sometimes they're one and the same, unfortunately. But you're right. Get a room other than the conference room B, right? Right. And other than closet number 2. Other than the boiler room. Other than the locker room. Other than the office. Other than the cubicle. Other than the break room. Other than the library. Should I stop? Those are all places that I could tell you should be in a book. Those are all places where romances happened. Or sex mance, or whatever you want to call it. Back to my question. Is it worth a conversation with the gentleman who you got fired. Copy room. Come on, Val Colbert. You know what I'm talking about. Copy room, fire truck, line truck, dump truck. Think about it. Meter maid, truck, car. Lots of places. Lots of places. Lots of places. And yeah. Should there be a conversation? Would you want to have a conversation with someone who you got fired and you look back 10 years and say, you did something wrong, but I'm not sure back then that my motive was pure. I'm not so sure that I would have done something if I didn't want something out of the situation, right? What say you? I'm trying to get you on. I don't know if Darren Williams is still here. Mama V. I know Val is still here. But not all of you are showing on my Facebook that I can swipe you in. See, understand that this man didn't get anyone fired. The decisions that they made in their own actions put their livelihood in jeopardy and caused them to lose their jobs. Yeah, and he feels because he is the one that shared that information that maybe that would have happened down the road, or maybe it wouldn't. Maybe they would have had a fling and never got caught and moved on. Or maybe they would have had a fling for many, many years and never got caught and retired. But he feels that because he brought it to management's attention and it was so closely timed or near proximal, if you will, to when they were discharged, that it was that he had some thoughts. He had some feelings about it because he feels that the real reason that he told wasn't because they both were married. It was because he wanted the woman. And so that's where his guilt is around. Whether or not his motives were right, even though the policy may have said one thing. Okay, J. Gerald, come on in. So I want to ask you, do you think it's worth a conversation? Because now you're going to be in-laws with this gentleman. And you just don't want the awkwardness. You all may not be buddies. You might not go have a beer together. Hey, Reba, and I'm sure Bilal. You may not go have a beer together. You may not be friends. But you want to, at least for your children, to be able to be in the same place, be civil, and it not be awkward. So I can understand him coming from that standpoint. Hey, this guy may feel like I totally did him wrong 10 years ago, and he might be feeling some kind of way. That could bubble up and explode. And at Christmas, when we're opening up gifts, he could buy me a gift, and I open it as something saying tattletale. Who knows? But is it worth having a conversation? Is it worth having a conversation when 10 years have passed, and while your motive might not have been clear 10 years ago, the fact that they were violating the company policy is still true? Is that worth a conversation? Cree Baker has joined us. Thank you so much. Cree, I'm pressing the button. Let me know if it's sending you an invite to come on. It's not an invite next to every name, so I'm just trying to figure out while I'm on Restream if it's only activating certain folks. So Cree, let me know whether or not it sent you an invite. Yeah, Andrea, that's what I thought. And that was the first thing I thought. How likely is it? And it could be in a world where all of these young people, and it's, a lot of millennials, that your son would meet and fall in love with the daughter of someone that you got fired or think you got fired 10 years ago. It's a small world. Okay, so you didn't have an invite. Okay, it tells me that yeah, maybe it's because I'm on Restream. It's making me think I can invite you here. And the way to get into Restream is here. So I'm putting it in the comments one more time. Okay. You should be able to see the link. Oh, I showed it on the screen. Come on, Restream. There's the link. What do you say? I'd love to have you come in, Cree Baker. Valerie Colbert Olsen Wady. I can only have 2 in at a time on Restream. So I was trying to activate somebody on. Yeah, come on, Cree. I'm going to talk to you about this real quick. Hit that link. To go to link. Big time now. I'm showing the link. Those of you that have just joined, I hope that you will click share and tag some folks to join in the discussion. I am probably, yeah, it should be telling me all of the, we're streaming live on YouTube channel, which is HR Passion Love and Stuff. HR Passion LLC is the parent company. We are also live on the Twitch TV channel, which we'll be talking more about that a little bit later. We're also live on Facebook on the Marcus Our Homes page and Love and Stuff. And I hope that you will click on the link and join me. The link is in the comments. I put the link in the comments. It's on the screen. You should be seeing it right now. And I dropped it in the comments. Okay, do you see it on the screen? Okay. Okay, J. Gerald. I'm putting it in the, okay. It says it's showing on Facebook. But I don't see it. J. Gerald, I don't see it in my comments. Okay, I'm gonna try it this way. I'm gonna try it this way for you, Cree Baker. Try it this way. I miss my. All right, Cree Baker. I just inboxed it to you. I don't know what's happening. I think I can take it off the screen if no one is going to do that. Hello, Julie Stewart. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. Having an interesting discussion from the inbox of a gentleman who reported his coworkers 10 years ago that they were having sexual intercourse at work. They ended up being terminated. 10 years later, his son is marrying the gentleman who was terminated, his daughter. And so the gentleman was married at the time of this workplace affair, whatever you want to call it. And it appears he's still married to his wife. When they meet at the engagement party, he acknowledges that he knows our inbox fellow in a kind of suggestive way. Oh, I know your dad. I know who he is. And so he's wondering, should he have a conversation with this gentleman that he got fired many years ago? Or should he have a conversation with his son? Or should he let it go? Hello, Tanisha Daddy-O, Tanisha Holmes. All right, Cree Baker, come on, try to come on in. Yes, that topic is pinned. I hope you will click share and tag some folks to join us quickly in the conversation. It's from the inbox, a father, husband, who 10 years ago liked a woman at the job who was married, and she was messing with another guy who was married. He caught them in a room having sexual intercourse, and he reported it to management. Shortly thereafter, both of them were let go, the woman and the guy who were having the workplace sex. 10 years later, the guy who told has a son who is getting married, and guess who he's marrying? He's marrying the daughter of this dude who got fired. The dude is still with his wife, who wasn't his coworker who he was having sex with. So they both the two coworkers were both married, so they were cheating. And he's wondering whether or not he should have a conversation with the guy who's about to be his in-laws to kind of clear the air, because they may be together for dinners and different things. Nan Davis has joined us. Thanks for coming. Julie says, now I can't hear you. You can't hear me? I hope you can hear me. Look at how God works. Heal the hate. Yes, it is certainly an opportunity for reconciliation, especially since the guy felt bad initially because his motive was not pure. He did not want them to be together because he wanted to be with the married woman himself. He was not married at the time, but he did have the baby mama. Whole nother story. But he was not married to her at the time, so he considered himself single. And he wanted to have this romance with this woman too, but she chose the married guy over the single guy. And he happened to walk in on them in a room in the facility, and they were, as they say, getting it in. He went to management, and shortly thereafter, they were let go. 10 years later, the small world, after all, has come full circle. Yes, Cree Baker and I, Tanisha, went to Murray Wright together, sang in the gospel choir together. Cree Baker, Tanisha is my niece. So, which I think maybe you were the president of the student parent thing, and now Tanisha is. Congratulations. At one point or something like that, but yeah. Okay, so, Cree, come on in. Or Julie Stewart, can you hear me now? Can you come on in? Can you see the link? It's across the screen. I don't know if you can, I don't know if it makes it a hyperlink. I had to figure that part out. I thought I was posting the link in the comments. I'm in the chat. Let's see, caption. Okay, I'm going back to the chat. All right. Join me quickly. I'd like to get your feedback. A number of you have already said that, hey, it's not even my business. I shouldn't be involved in this. Some of you said, well, I may be obligated to tell because it's the company policy. In that case, I'm not feeling bad, whether you're married or not, because if there's, something in the employee handbook or manual or rules that say no fraternization or no lewd or sex acts, then I'm in my right to go to management because after all, I'm an upstanding employee. And I'm again wondering if that's the motive. Is the motive because you wanted the woman for yourself and your desire was to move the competition out the way and you ended up moving them both out the way? In that case, if that is the case, should you have some conversation? Should you have some conversation anyway about something that happened 10 years ago, whether your motive was good or not? Should you have some conversation as an extension of an olive branch, if you will, for someone who might still be salty because they lost a good paying job? What do you say? Sonia Wadi has joined us. Tanisha says, oh, Lord, you better say something before the reception. I tend to agree with you, Tanisha. I think there should be a conversation. One of his questions was, should he tell the son? I just don't think that he should tell the son because he's not sure whether or not this guy's wife is aware of why he was fired. And doing that could put him in a whole nother other. Now, I can tell you, Nicole, I've been in human resources for quite a while, 24 years, close to 17 of which at the city this month. Yay me, 17 tomorrow, actually, at the city. But I worked in a nursing home, and I can tell you that I walked in on some things at the nursing home. Long before I was in human resources, I also worked at a radio station. I worked at WKQI, which was 955 back then. And this name you probably have heard before. Danny Bonaducci was the main talent of the station. I've walked in on things in the booth at the radio station. If Pam Caldwell worked with us tonight, she would tell you that same thing. She worked there. I have worked for the city, like I said, tomorrow will be 17 years. And I have had to investigate and walked into places that I should put in a book because I think it'll be a bestseller. So you might be a nosy employee or you might be walking into something. It could be either. I don't disagree with you, Nicole. I just want to give the perspective of the other side. Sometimes you walk into stuff, you're like, I cannot unsee that. Unfortunately, I cannot unsee that. So Tanisha says, tell the son that there's history. They used to work together. I think that's a good thing. I think, yes, first you talk to the father, you're going to be in-laws. And I think you say, I'm so sorry that you lost your job, or maybe you're not sorry. Say, hey, I did what I felt like I had to do. He might say you were cock blocking. You're right, but that was 10 years ago. I'm married. I'm happy. You married? You happy? Okay. I'm I'm just saying, Tanisha. I'm just saying. I'm saying some of those places are not as existent as, or not in their, not the way they were, but uh, not the names of the offenders, but just during that time frame. So anyway, yep, uh, yeah. So, but you can always write a book and say these characters are not accurate representations of what of actual events. Anyhow, what what advice would any of you give to this inbox gentleman about that conversation that he has, if he decides to have it, and if the guy is willing to have it? What should be in that conversation? If I was asking, what should I say? What should I say to this guy who I got fired? You tried to join the stream. Did you just click on the link? It wouldn't let you come in. What happened? I need to help you. Korea, I need to help you. You should be able to click on the link. It should ask you for an email, make your password. Voila, voici. But okay. Yeah. Well, Cree, one of the things that makes it heavy to me is because 10 years ago, he was a less mature, maybe more vindictive, less, was a little less integral, and he's grown up and he's matured, and he's saying, maybe my motives weren't right, even though I could hide behind the policy all day because it was the policy. But maybe my motives weren't right, but I don't want my son to be married into a family where the dad, the father-in-law, might not like him because of me. Or we don't want to be in the same dinner because he's afraid of what I might say or do. So it puts him in a position where I want everything to be okay for my son, and I am 10 years out of whatever my mindset was then. And the part I love about that is he's still aware that his actions have repercussions for his son that he wants to be able to mitigate or ameliorate, you know what I'm saying? So that his son has a good life. He's still thinking as a father, protecting his son, which is why it made it into our Father's Day list of shows, because it really is a father who is saying, the reason that I need to make this right is because it's going to could impact my son's relationship with his bride-to-be, or his relationship with that father-in-law. I don't want there to be any vengeance or bad blood or whatever that could be. So I want to try to make it right to the extent that I should be making it right, because I did the right thing, maybe wrong motive. So that's really heavy, right? Talk father to father and make a plan together. Great advice. And Tanisha, what would you say to him? What does he say in that conversation? If he's never had a father-to-father conversation, what does he say? I just don't believe in having a relationship outside of the marriage, but in this situation, it was 10 years ago, and if this young man wants to marry, then let them. They have nothing to do with that. I think you raise a great point, Julie. It was 10 years ago, and hopefully they can come to some reconciliation or some truce, if truce would be a word, so that a word applicable, so that the father isn't holding anything over this guy, and more importantly, over his son-in-law to be, right? Rashida, the glam Dr. LaShawn has joined us. Thank you so much for coming. The father still had issues and should talk to the other father and keep the kids out of it. Thank you, Tanisha. What should he say? That's my question now on the floor. So he's man, hey man, I want to talk to you. What should he say? Nothing's coming natural to him, so he's asking, what should I say? What should I say? How many of you think that he should start the conversation with an apology? Tanisha says yes. There should be an apology and an explanation and ask for forgiveness for his son. Great advice, Tanisha. So we should say, I'm sorry. Back then, my motive was to get the girl. And while I didn't want you to have the girl, and I thought this would keep you from having the girl, I had no idea that they were going to fire you. And it's a great company. I still work there. Maybe you shouldn't say that because that might sound like it's rubbing the salt in the wound. He probably knows he still works there, and probably knows, if he's been promoted, he knows that too. Angela Mullins has joined us. Thank you so much. I hope you will click, share, and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. While you are coming into the discussion, I hope that you will consider, those of you that are single, will consider joining our dating game. There is a survey, and I will drop that link in the comments. It keeps freezing on your end. Oh, I'm so sorry. Kia Phillips has joined us. Okay, I'm so sorry that it's freezing on your end. Okay. All right. The son should not be held accountable for the jealousy. No, don't say that. Okay. He should tell him to do what he wants. Okay. So Julie, I want to clarify. Tanisha got your comment. I think you're right. Julie, I want to clarify. When you say he should tell him to do what he wants, just clarify me who he and him are. Should our inbox person tell the other father to do what he wants? Who should tell what? Just so I'm clear. Yes, Nicole, it is a dating game. Now, I know the world is reopening, but we're still going to do it on Zoom. And the way that we're going to do it, this is a commercial break. Thank you so much. We need both single and married couples, and here's why. Zoom has breakout rooms. So we're going to have a group of like-minded individuals in a breakout room by gender, and they will get a chance to go in and interact with those people in that breakout room and ask them one question and rate each other when they leave out of the room and go into the larger room with everybody else while each person has a one-on-one moment to determine, one, this is a connection. Two, I need more information to see whether this is a connection. Or three, this is cold. It's dead. It's not a connection. Some of the married couples are going to help to prep you. We might even partner and enlist, as we often do, Rashida the Glam Dr. Williams to do a little pre-planning makeup for the ladies. Okay, here's what you might do to zhuzh yourself up, if zhuzh is the word that she would use, probably not. Whatever you will do to present your best self, and some male grooming tips. Here, what you will do. But the couples come in because they'll talk about the active dating part of dating. Couples still date. The really good ones do. And we have a number of them in our Love and Stuff community. So we want them to be involved. They'll be in another breakout room where you get to go in and say, I really liked her a lot, but she didn't really respond to me. Here's what I said. Here's what I did. And get some feedback and say, okay, go back in there, champ, and correct that. Or before you go in there, say, okay, let's talk about your game. What you going to say? Because maybe you're rusty, or maybe you haven't dated in a while. So you just need to talk to some people who are actively, regularly dating and dating for some longer term purpose. And that is some of our super couples who are within Love and Stuff. So it will be a great time. You should sign up. We promise that you will meet different people, but we try to put you in a breakout room according to some of the things you have in common. So if you say you're looking for a certain age group, we've got some folks in the Love and Stuff community that are specifically looking for different ethnicities. They want to try something different, and I don't knock anybody that wants to try something different. So we're going to try to match as closely as we can the breakout rooms to some of your wants, and then give you an opportunity to rotate and meet different folks. That's my commercial break. Of course, I'll play it. We have a commercial that I'll make sure we put in rotation on the page. All right. The father and his own son. Thank you so much for clarifying that. So the father should let his own son know, do what the son wants for himself. So, Julie, do you think the father should tell the son what happened? My only concern with that is that if he tells the son what happened and the son tells the fiance and the fiance tells her mama, who may not know what happened, did we just injure the father again in some regard? And this time we injured him when he wasn't doing anything wrong. Maybe back then he cheated on his wife, and maybe after getting fired, that was his wake-up call, and he hasn't done it since. And so now that's coming to revisit him when he never had a conversation with her. It's forcing him to have a conversation with her that he might not have been ready or desired to have. That's my only concern with that. All right. Well, I have been trying to get some of you to join me here live. We are at 9:59, which has been a good show. I know a lot of people have been tracking with Oprah. She's got a fantastic something happening tonight. And so I know I may not be a match for Oprah, but this is Love and Stuff. And what I want you to walk away from this Love and Stuff, I hope that our inbox community member has gotten some great advice, and I think he does. But what I would want you to walk away with is to be aware, to check your motives when you're making a decision that impacts other people. Because more than likely, that motive and or that decision are going to revisit you at some point in the future, oftentimes when you least expect it. So the best thing is to do the right thing for the right reasons in the beginning. And I know if you are human like me and you have human desires and frailties and flaws, that you might be tempted to do something injurious to someone who you consider an adversary, a foe, a competitor. But rarely do you go your entire life without that revisiting you in some way or some form. It is like a saying that says, you get what you give. And if there is truth to that, and I believe that there is, we should be giving, to the extent that we are able to, as much love and as much positive vibe as we can supply. I believe that the love that we've been given always outmeasures the love that we give. That's what I believe our love quotient is. It's the love that you receive over the love that you give. Because God always gives more love than you could ever give to Him, yourself, and others combined. He is the quintessential love. And He's given in such a magnanimous way, in such a dynamic way, that there is no mold. He broke the mold by His very essence of being love. But yet He still wants us to love Him with everything we have. And then our neighbors as ourselves. You get what you give yourself, and you get what you give your neighbor. And if you are giving yourself the permission to bring injury to someone else as a motive, whether or not you intended the worst consequence for that person, the worst could happen. And it could come right back to your door, and oftentimes it does. Start out doing the right thing for the right reason. And that is easier said than done when your emotions, your will, and your intellect get involved. But you're the master of those things. Your job and your love journey is to master those things for the greatest output and the greatest leverage to be the love in this world that God intended for us to be. It's been a great loving stuff. And what I do want to encourage you to do not only is take the survey for the loving stuff dating game, which I will drop in the inbox, but also think about joining us in our roundtable discussion. We want love to get from under the neck of racism. And so we're going to have a roundtable discussion about our next steps and how we think every individual and every organization can do something. If you have read this book, James Clear has a book called Atomic Habits, and he talks about motion versus action. And a lot of times motion is our planning and strategy, but you have to then do something after you've come up with your plan and your strategy. And so people are hashtagging and making beautiful photo ops and making big commitments, but they're not doing some of the very things that are within their power to do. Some of them are as simple as ask the African Americans in your community and in your organization how they feel and what they want. Start there. If you're going to formulate a plan, don't leave out the person who has been impacted. Don't go give to the NAACP if your employees want you to give to the learning and development and promotional and things within the company and the community engagement that they're involved in. I'm not saying don't give to the NAACP, but don't let that be your statement exclusively if you haven't talked to the African Americans within your organization. And then don't just mobilize your home or your block. Join in league with other blocks and other organizations so that we truly unify and we are able to harness the power, the economic power. Talk about Juneteenth. And we mobilized the economic power. We could really move some forces and wield the kind of power that moves elections as other people use their money to do. And so we'll be having our discussion, and we would love to have you as a part of that discussion as well. Nicole says, I see a mess, and all of this because somebody was a telltale and was mad that they couldn't get what they wanted. Yeah, it would certainly be a mess. It would certainly be a mess. Tanisha says, don't burden the son with the sins of his fiance's father. I agree with that. I believe you keep the son out of it, especially because you do not know. You don't know if the wife, who could be an innocent bystander, if she is at all aware. I think fathers do have a responsibility to own up to what they've done, reconcile relationships, that even if they can't tell the details of, that their children get to see them be the grown man, the adult, mature, emotionally mature man that make a difference in the lives of their family. We're past 10, and I am grateful. I hope you will join me Saturday on the gratefulness journey. I'm hopeful that you will click share and that you will tag someone, 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular. Our goal is 60 shares, 1,000 views. Hey, we didn't get 60 shares last week, but we got almost 2,000 views. Hey, the week before, we didn't get 60 shares. We got over 4,800 views. Hey, the week before that, we got about 60 shares and we got over 5,400 views. All of that works in our favor. But it's really important that we keep up our shares because our sponsors and sponsors who are potential sponsors, I better say it that way, are looking to support us. But one of the largest components of that analysis has to do with sharing. And so I know you love to like and you love to love, and now the new emoji, you love to care. But I would love for you to share so that we can get to the next level of love and stuff. Now, what is that next level? I'm so glad you asked. We don't want to just do the online love and stuff. I am so privileged and honored that we have people in Poland, people in Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya. Speaking with a gentleman this morning who was looking in profiles of people in love and stuff. He's looking for a wife. I said, hey, you got to come to the dating game if I'm going to hook you up. People in the UK, people in India, some who email me, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. But it's not 3 a.m. there, so I understand that now. Didn't at first, so I'm working at it. People all over that are engaging with the content, and we want to take it all over. We want all of you to go all of these places. You know, Nicole is saying she needs to take a survey, and I'm serious. You know, you've been traveling. Of course, right now we can't do the travel, but when we travel again, I want you to meet some of these African men who are inboxing and saying, where are the beautiful American women? Now, I'm telling them that they're going to have to come to our country. We're not going to have anybody kidnapped there. I will not be on a Lifetime movie. But we want you to have love, experience love, find love, and be love. And that requires resources to take love and stuff on the road with LaShawn Phoenix Moore as a headliner, with Rashida the Glam Dr. Williams, LaShawn as a headliner, with Tammy and Kenny Williams and Cheryl Slacker Conneal baking us all of the goods, with Tabitha with women's empowerment, with activism from Tamuk and men's empowerment from Jay Gerald and James Williams, and the cauldron of men that we're pulling together to take all of these people to the world to help them up their love game, which is a part of the vision, will require us to have sponsors, will require us to have folks that will join us. It can't just be grassroots forever. And there are sponsors out there that are looking, but they want to make sure that we have the consistency that we need. And we've been doing this it will be 3 years. We're wonderful. And I'm trying to be patient and inch it along and let it grow organically, and it's doing that, and you're engaging with the content, and you're inboxing us and telling us you love the content. Love on Facebook means share, and so we need you to share the content so that we can. I see Darren Williams saying dating game, yes. So he might meet Nicole Baldwin. I don't know if the two of you have ever met, or he might meet Valencia Etner. I don't know if the two of you have ever met, and I'm not matchmaking you yet. I'm just calling out names. And it will be one thing to meet on Zoom, which would be wonderful, and get a connection. And we'll talk a little bit about the connection on Zoom. And another thing to be able to be flown one to the other and meet in person and have a date and have all of this courtesy of love and stuff and its sponsors. See, today, I can't yet do that. Now, in a few weeks, a book is coming out. We're going to be talking more about, now you buy the book, I might be able to do some of that. And I don't mean just you. I mean a whole lot of yous would need to buy the book for us to take it to the next level. And so you can always go to our page and buy Love and Stuff gear. All of these things help to support that effort. And that's what it goes to. That and to charity and to building the platform. 25% of the net proceeds will go toward disaster relief victims, the transient community, which is near and dear, and scholarship. So you will purchase products that will give, at least the gear, the stuff that you buy in the Shopify store. The book will have a different purpose. Different purpose there. 2 books, actually, as you may have heard. And then I'm going to let you go. Say what? Oh, we were heard has joined us. Thank you so much. One book is The Gratefulness Journey. As some of you are on the gratefulness journey with us. It is 3 things that you're grateful for. Speak them aloud 3 times every day. Share them with 3 people. Do that for 30 days. You're on the gratefulness journey every day. And that book will talk a lot more about that journey for me personally and that journey for you and how you can build habits that you can maintain. I think you will enjoy that book. I hope you will buy it. And we have a book, All Shades of Girls, that's coming out. It is loosely based on our own Sonia Charisse, who is a member of our Love and Stuff community and who experienced colorism as a light-skinned girl in elementary and middle school and high school. And so it kind of depicts a part of that story. And I think it's very important that we begin to have these conversations with children, girls and boys while they're young so that they understand that society is already conditioning them about color from a very young age. And so I hope that both of those books, I will give the disclaimer, I'm not a social anthropologist or cultural anthropologist. I was a psychology major, but I did not matriculate with a psychology degree. I matriculated with a business management degree in human resources. So I'm not a clinical psychologist. I get into some of the nuts and bolts of some of the theory in one of those books, but I don't delve into it from the practicum of a psychologist, if that makes sense. But I relate it to what I think you and I can do in our everyday. And I hope to do the same with the colorism book as well. These are ways that you can support us. And we would love for your support to be there. Thank you so much. Have a great night. We will see you Saturday on the Gratefulness Journey. I will drop both the link to the Gratefulness Journey and to the Dating Game survey shortly in the comments. So don't go far so that you can do the survey tonight. Have a great night.